This is Zhiyun's M3, and today I'm going to give you a deep dive on the specs and how it performs in real life. By the way, this is not sponsored. I've had this for about 2 months. I've never really done a review except till now because I really want to test this out and give you my honest opinion, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And trust me, when it comes to gimbals, I know my stuff. So let's get into it. Hope you like my new studio. Oh, by the way, I've got something really special on the way from Zhiyun. It's a new gimbal, but I can't reveal it right now because it's under hush-hush. And I will give you a first rundown, hopefully before pre-release. So if that's something you're interested in, feel free to subscribe. Now, I've actually shot this review in Chinese, so I'm gonna give you a couple of footage from that episode just so you know what I'm talking about. So, what you have in front of me is the Zhiyun M3. Now, I'm not sure what you have in your domestic market, but here, where I am, we have the basic, the travel pack, and then there's pro package. The pro package, you get this backpack, you get this shotgun microphone, and you also get an extension on the very bottom. Now, this thing, I'll go through it in a little bit, but let's have a look at the backpack. Overall, pretty good quality, waterproof on the outside, fairly small. Okay, we've got a magnetic lid, opens up, and then undone. And he opens up from the back all the way through like so, right? Everything you want is in here. So everything fits in this little backpack. Okay, you've got a couple of pouches here and you got one more down here. Okay, so that's about it. Let's put this on the side. Now, what also comes in a pro package is one of these extensions. You can quickly take this apart, okay? And as you can see, you've got a couple of extensions on the side. On one side, you've got an expansion port. That's for your microphone, and then on this side is a camera port. Right now, they have not disclosed what it is, but from my knowledge, it is something to do with Bluetooth, so they should be able to control your camera wirelessly through an extension that's going to be developed sometime this year. So yet to be disclosed, but if I have updates, I will let you know. Okay, so this is something you can put on at the bottom of your M3, press a button, and in you go. Just like that, and you lock it in. Basic version does not come with this because you don't have a shotgun mic, so you don't need one of these. So don't fret if you're, think you're missing out. You probably don't need it. Now, in terms of the microphone, this build quality is actually quite good. All right, we've got two different functions. We've got cardio and hypercardio. Cardio is where we pick up the sound right directly from the front of the shotgun, where hypercardio is more focused to the front, but a little bit at the back as well. In terms of sound quality, I want you to hear a little footage that I recorded previously. Testing, 1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8，1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8，可以听见吗？当然了，麦克风还是咱们Zhiyun这次 M3 的一个额外的配件。So it's actually not too bad. So you could have a 2-man operate, 1 man hold the gimbal, and the interviewer or the host, will be redirecting at your guest. So this is something quite useful. The length is actually quite long as well. So the cord that comes in the pack, I think it's around 3 meters, but from my footage you can see it's quite a substantial amount of distance. Now, in terms of design overall, this is white for the first time. I think a lot of the tech companies are using white now to really attract the users. We've got the red Komodo in the White Trooper edition. Overall, batteries built inside, to be honest, I've used it for about 8-9 hours, and that's probably a fairly decent runtime, and it obviously does support PD quick charge as well. Look at the front, we've got the trigger button as well as a focus wheel. Now, you can use this to control your roll axis as well as your focus, and then this is obviously your mode trigger, right? You can click it once, twice, or 3 times, and the same functions you see in older gimbals, the older modes. So the modes are the same. You've got selfie, you've got go mode, you've got POV mode, lock focus, pan focus, 360, vortex, all that good stuff. So over at the front now, we've got a touch screen for the first time, and this is actually quite sensitive. It doesn't lag as much, which is good. Sometimes you get those screens that you feel like it's not really following your touch sensors. This doesn't do that. It's actually quite intuitive, and it makes it a whole lot easier. So you don't need the app anymore. You can do all your controls right here on the screen. You've also got this little joystick to control your gimbal as well. Over here, you've got 2 buttons. One is the mode, right? You've got click of a button, you've got a mode, and then you've got another function or to record, right? If you're connected to your camera, you can use that to trigger your camera. One extra aspect of this gimbal is the fact that we've got a selfie light. Now I've got this removed here. These are little magna filters, right? So let me take this off. It's actually pretty good. I've tested this out. I want to show you what it looks like. This is pitch black, pitch dark, right? And without all my lightings, you can see my face. Now it is not the smoothest light given that it's such a small light source, but it is useful at certain situations. You also have these little magnetic filters here, and you can put this on at the front if you want a fairly cool light or if you want a warm light. Now you can also stack these, but keep in mind once you do, you losing a lot of light source. So not recommended, but it's there for you. On the top here, I've got a, phone tripod. Now this gimbal, you can use it for your camera, your compact cameras, the Sony ZV-10s, you can use that, the GX2 from Canon, you can always use that. But for me, I thought, let's take it to the extreme. How well will it do on a mirrorless camera? Right off the bat, there's something I want to tell you, right? This is a great gimbal, but there is some disappointments. There are some lenses that works for this camera, but not all of them. Plate. Now there is a quick release plate, so with a click of a button, so this makes it really easy if you want to adjust your camera or your phone, and then you can just put it on like so. It's fairly easy to go, right? Pretty quick. But there's one catch, is that if you have a mirrorless camera or a fairly big camera, this is probably not going to go for you, right? It's good, but it's going to hit your EVF, right? Because your camera body is fairly big and the size of the gimbal length is very minimum. So I'm going to give that to you right now. Now that being said, does it work? I've tested this on my Sony a7S3 or M3, and I've tested on multiple lenses. The one I used are the Tamron 17-28. I've also used the Tamron 28-200. Both of those lenses are not very heavy compared to the Sony lenses, but they do work. There's one thing I have to give to this gimbal is its motors. This is probably the best motor I've seen on any gimbal by far right now to date, because the ability to calculate and to really readjust itself and then recover after a malfunction is just, I've never seen something like this. Look at how aggressively I tried to put this gimbal out of whack. Look, it just recovers and it's able to keep on going, right? It is amazing. Unfortunately, given the size, it's not made for mirrorless, but it really shows that Zhiyun has done something really remarkable in terms of the motors and where it's heading in its possible future launches. Now, like all my tests, I do it with both walking and running, so you get both a picture of how it performs. I also try it in a long focal length just to really exaggerate that result. So the longer the focal length, the more visible. You can see, overall I think it's fairly good. And keep in mind, this is with a Sony S7 with my Tamron lens, so this is a fairly big setup. If you're using a smaller camera, if you're using a phone, I think it's going to be perfectly fine. Now in terms of price, this thing isn't cheap, considering that it's not made for all the mirrorless cameras and the lenses out there. It's around 2,500 RMB. That's around just over $400 for a gimbal. So that's not cheap. And the Pro Pack, well, that's a little bit more. It's just under, I think, around conversion, about $800 to $900 for the whole pack. It is not a cheap package. Who are these for? I think it's for those who are just got into the filming industry or who likes to film something on a daily basis. This is perfect, right? Your phone, your little camera, your compact camera. But those who have mirrorless, especially ones who has invested in a lot of different lenses, I wouldn't recommend this for you. So very capable gimbal with some disappointments, but I would still recommend it for those who like the looks and the capabilities and its daily use. For those who are more professional, this is probably not for you. But that being said, because you've stayed to the very end, I'm going to give you another inside tip. And that is, if you're looking for a gimbal in 2022 and you've kind of waited for a long time, I would suggest just to wait a little bit longer. From the inside sources I've been getting, I think they're going to be releasing another one very soon. And I think it's just as capable, but for a lot cheaper price. So you didn't hear from me, don't tell anyone, but I will be trying to release something for you as soon as I get my hands onto